Like the one that's missing, I swear I recorded that. I, the, yeah,
I saw it.
yeah. I
I go back and
yeah,
the things I've been here,
we,
go back.
well, usually if I don't, somebody said something to me. It's like so, and they have, so they screwed me one semester. They have an auto record feature and it may work now, but I'd use the auto record in all my classes for 2 weeks and none of them appeared. And it's like, it's the and they found them, they found them a month later. It's like, so anyway, our, our technology is great. All right, I'll quit wasting your time. Okay, so this is a review for exam two. We're hopefully you've had at least a chance to look at these. It'd be awesome if you'd had a chance to try to work them. Uh, but the if you can work these problems and recognize these problems, you should do well on the exam. So the names and numbers will be changed, but it it the problems are minimally different, if minimally. Some of them are identical. So because I'm lazy. So but uh, the all right. Uh, the exam should look very much like the last exam. The multiple choice come from my lecture. So if you're if you're willing to look through my lectures, you should listen to my lectures. I know they're not too terribly exciting, but anyway, that's where the questions come from. So, questions before we start? Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. As many as you want, unlimited. Um, there aren't any formula sheets for this exam, but I encourage you to write every formula we use down and make notes. And yeah, the unlimited note is, yeah, that's on all exams. Okay. So, all right. So first question is a constant growth model, uh, equity valuation, stock valuation, however you'd like to refer to. General Motors expects to pay dividends of $10 this year and $12 next year. After that, the company expects to grow at a 6% rate for the rest of its life. What is the value of the stock if investors require an 11% return to purchase a stock? So the exponents on both of these are just going to be one. So you can put a one in both of them. But so what we'll do is we'll PV both of the dividends and then we apply the constant growth model to the second dividend. So so the $10 divided by one plus the required rate of return, and I'll make that absolute. So function F4. And all right. So then now I can drag that down and I've present valued the $12 dividend back. So and a slash and parentheses, and then it's just R minus G. So the 11% minus the 6%. So if you happen to flip those around, if you confuse R minus G and do G minus R, it won't matter because you'll get an error. So um, so 226. Is that right? Did I do that?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I don't know what I did here. I got a, hold on. It's been a day. My truck broke down in my driveway, but luckily it was after I got my dog home from the vet. But I'm in my wife's car today. So, all right. So what did I do wrong?
I didn't get the.
Oh, I did 6%. I'm sorry. There, yeah. I mean, it's the PV at the 11%. The function F4. There we go.
I
Oh,
didn't, the absolute. You know, that is-
what did we absolute? What about? Hmm? I'm sorry.
Where you have the.
Oh, function F4. Yeah, you're gonna type in the dollar signs, but if you hit function F4 when you're next to the, yeah, so like, so let me start over. All right, so equals, so the $10 divided by 1 plus the required rate of return, and then function FN F4, and some machines, you just have to hit F4. So, and, but you can, let me show, so you can literally, you can do whatever you want to, just as far as the function goes. So, so if you hit function F4, you hit it. So see how the one went away? So now that, so it did it, it was for the row, then now it did it for the column. And if you hit it the third time, it goes back to nothing. And the fourth time, so, yeah, the, I mean, Excel, if you're willing to learn it, Excel is an amazing
Oh,
program.
no, I'm loving it after you gave us the first.
So,
thing.
so now now, whoops, I'm on the wrong one. All right, there, all right, down here. So now after I present by the $12, I, I need to apply the constant growth model, and then hopefully I'll get the right answer this time. So 11 minus 6, and of course, so now I sum both of those and I should get $225.23. Any questions?
Can you click on no, the higher one.
So we in the middle here, we apply, this is the constant growth model. This is R minus G. Okay. So we present value the dividends all the way up until the one that grows constant. And then the constant growth model. And it gives us the value of the stock 1 year prior. So if you see we have D1 here gives us P0, well, D2 gives us P1, price in year one. Okay. We good?
So in other
Okay.
words, you're saying
All
that that's a
right, so next
shortcut.
we've got Oracle. So we've got rate of return, dividend yield, and capital gain yield. The question just asked for dividend and capital gain yield, but the rate of return is the combination of the two. So and I see you're welcome to use the shares of stock on these questions, but it's just an extra step. So it's another chance to make a mistake. So I'll read the question. You bought 1,000 shares of Oracle stock last year for $200. You received a $10 per share dividend during the year. And the current price of the stock is 220. What is the yield on the investment, and dividend yield and capital gains yield? So yield is the ending value. So 220. Whoops, I need to equal 220 minus 200 plus the dividend, the $10. And then we always divide by where we started. So the 200 divide by the 200. That's 15%. Now, and we know that the dividend and capital gains yield have to add up to the rate of return. So, but the dividend yield is simply the $10 dividend divided by the beginning value. So now we know that our capital gains yield is 10% because they have to add up. So we can prove it to ourselves. So 220 minus 200 divided by 200 is 10%. And this is one of my great frustrations as an instructor, because I teach these in almost every class I have, and for some reason, students struggle with these problems. And in my mind, it doesn't get much simpler, but for some reason, students struggle with it. And if anybody can explain to me why that's the case, if I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The capital gains yield plus the dividend yield will give you the.
Exactly. The rate of return. Add those two together every time. No exceptions. All right.
Rate of return or yield?
Yeah. ROR or yield in Excel, which.
I don't know, it could be either. What did let me, so yield, there's probably a good chance it's yield, but it could be rate of return. But like, yeah. All right, so this is a yield to maturity calculation. So you own $1,000 face value Bear Stearns bond with a 6% coupon with semi-annual coupons. Bond matures in 12 years, is callable in 5 at a redemption price of $1,050. We're not, since it's yield to maturity, we're not concerned with any of that. The current price of the bond is $975. What is the yield to maturity on the bond? So so we've got end's going to be 12 years semi-annual, so that's 2 a year, so 24 periods. We're calculating IY. The PV is the bond price, some negative 975. The payment is the face value times the coupon or coupon rate if you choose, and then we divide that by 2. And then future value is the face value of the bond, and then it's equals rate. And this is going to give us a semi-annual rate, so we have to multiply it by 2 to get the so number of periods, payment, comma, present value, comma, future value. And Excel is nice enough to tell you exactly what to put in there. So 3.15, that's our semi-annual rate. And the yield to maturity is 3.15 times 2 is 6.30%. So, which is also the equivalent of the APR. So when you go get a loan, the yield to maturity on a bond is the equivalent of a APR. Questions? Okay. All right. So this is a constant growth model problem. So with constant growth model, the key here is identifying the dividend and then applying the model. So, so here, Google common stock just paid a $10 dividend. Dividends are expected to grow perpetually at a rate of 8%. What is the value of the stock if investors require a 20% return to stock purchase of stock? So just paid is a key. You need the dividend. You need the dividend in the future at the end of the period to do this calculation. So we have to grow that dividend by 8%. So it's, I've got it in here, but it's, so that's the current dividend times 1 plus the growth rate. So the 8%, so $10.80. And now we can apply the constant growth model. So it's $10.80 divided by, and just like we did when we were using non-constant growth, R, so it was R minus G, so 20 minus 8, and we get $90 is the value of the stock.
So I don't know if people can, like, if you can hear people online,
Mhm.
like, you're. So I don't know if people online, they might be asking questions.
I don't know why that's, I think that's because I don't have control over it. The volume is on. So, yeah.
I'm online. No
So
one's
let
asked
me,
anything on this side.
yeah, nobody's screaming on chat. So, the that started doing that when with with a recent update. So, all right. So implied forward rates. So the and so the yield curve was as follows. So the I don't know why I have Y13 in there, but the maybe in the past I asked for both. But so what is the 1-year rate in year 2? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the and again we sure, yeah. Yeah. So so we use the textbook uses a approximation formula. And for some reason I want to say approximation. Don't know why. But anyway, you may have seen the precise formula, and if you use the precise formula, you should probably be a good idea to email me that you used it, because you'll get a slightly different answer. They're really close in the problems that will work. But anyway, so what we're doing is we're comparing the 2-year rate to the 1-year rate. So the it's 2 times the 3.95 minus 1 time the 4.05, so that 3.85%. So if I asked you for the 1-year rate in year 3, it would simply be 3 times 0.03, oops, 39 minus 2 times the 3.95, and that would be 3.8%. And if you notice, the rates on this yield curve are declining. That's what we call an inverted yield curve. You're going to expect that the rates are going to be lower than the rates you're going to calculate are going to be lower than what are on the curve. If it's upward sloping, then the rates would be higher. So, all right.
Dr. Hamby,
But we
from
won't
the
calculate
outside.
anything other than single year rates. So, questions? Oh, Phil.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dr.
you
Hamby,
don't need
so
to.
You're looking at this was asking for year 12 or year 3?
You're unmuted.
No, so is it you're looking at year 12 and year 13?
Can you type it in chat? That's,
Yeah.
but it's,
There you
that's,
go.
but it, no, that's me. Whoops. Oh, it did. Weird. All right. No, Y12 is the 1-year rate in year 2. Y13 is the 1-year rate in year 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it should be a subscript, but the when you use accounting format, it will not let you use subscripts. And I prefer to use accounting format. So
Over that, right before.
okay. All right. So now we got a preferred stock question. Joe, preferred stock, dividend divided by required rate of return, nothing else. Okay. The what happens for some reason, students think this is too simple. And it's like, if it says preferred stock, it's D over R, dividend divided by required rate of return. That's all there is to it. It's like, sometimes students they go look for a growth rate or plug in and it's like, if you plug in a growth rate, you're going to get the wrong answer. I promise you. So,
But here's my dog.
yes, that you're exactly right. Growth rate is, if it says preferred stock, the dividend, the growth rate is 0, because it's never, that dividend is never going to change. If you took my investments class, we have what we do, work with no growth stocks and so forth, and it's the same concept. Growth rate, no growth stock, a growth rate is 0. So the but yes, you're correct. So all right, so you own Bank of America preferred stock, and I don't have, I never ask you to calculate the dividend like they did in the homework. The the preferred stock that I'm familiar with, they give you the dividend dollar amount. You don't need to calculate that. So, but pays annual dividend of $12 a share was the price of the stock. If investors require a 10% return to purchase the stock, it's just 12 divided by the 10% or 0.1 or $120.
Can you make all the test questions like that? I feel like that is the way
If
to
you-
learn.
Here's the thing. If you go back and look, there are a lot of test questions that are, that are close to this simple. If you think about rate of return and dividend yield and capital gain yield and so forth, they're no, it's going to say preferred stock, and it's going to give you, it might say it might ask you to give you the required rate of return first, but it won't be any different. No, we want.
How about you do one like that, like, how is gonna double check?
But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preferred stock, so if it is preferred stock, that's the fee, will be over on the.
Yeah. yeah, that's, I mean, preferred stock, they're, and the only similar investment I'm aware of is called a Consul. They're bonds, and I think they were issued, and I know that they were issued in Europe a long time ago. Like the aristocrats in Great Britain have used them to transfer wealth down for generations. And so they're, their heirs are clipping, you know, coupons or bonds that were issued 400 years ago. Or they, I don't have that problem, but the
So just confirm this is the fund for the preferred stock.
yes, and any perpetuity, but we did that. But yes, so but we did perpetuities in the in the last exam, but same idea. So, yep. But this is how you would value any instrument that that the dividend doesn't change, or the whether or the payment or whatever. Yeah, that's oh, all right. So all right. So this is a non-constant growth. So I'm going to do it both ways. The do this like general better for exponents. But, all right. So Amazon plans to pay dividends of $2, $3, and $4 over the next 3 years, respectively. After 3 years, dividends are expected to grow perpetually at a 6% rate. What is the value of the stock if investors require a 10% return to purchase the stock? So if we do it my way, we just present value the given dividends. So I did grow it 6% down here, so you can do it the book method. So, but I'm going to do it both ways. So we take the dividend, we divide it by 1 plus the required rate of return, and we hit function F4, and we get make it absolute, and then we get our caret. That's hit the shift key and hit 6, and so we're present value in that 1 year, and the other 2 dividends are going to be present valued 2 years. So that's the $3 and $4. And now we go down here and we apply the constant growth model. We need our slash and then our parentheses. And so it's going to be 10% minus 6%. We just, let's go here. So we sum that. So $86.94. And so we do the same thing here, and I've got the exponent set up for the to do it the book method. And so divide that by 1 plus the required rate of return, the 10%, and then function F4, and then caret, and then capture the 1, and we drag it down. And now we apply our constant growth model. And I believe I said in the review, so I learned this from a student because I was taught the book method, and and I've had multiple investment classes at different universities, and nobody ever pointed this out to me. And when a student showed me, I thought it was pretty cool. I'm all for skipping steps if you can skip steps. So, questions? Wonder why that was on mute, but it wasn't. My computer's getting old. So, all right. So next, we've got a bond with a different face value than $1,000. All the examples in the book were $1,000, but most bonds are very, very large sums of money. In most cases, millions of dollars. So, but the calculations are the same. You own $100,000 face value ExxonMobil bond with a 7% coupon, semi-annual coupons, matures in 20 years. What is the price of the bond if the yield to maturity is 6%? So 20 years semi-annually is 20 times 2. The IY is the yield. Always the rate. You use the coupon to calculate the coupon payments. You use the yield to calculate the price. So the yield divided by 2, since we've got semi-annual periods where you got to divide by 2, and we're calculating PV. The payments, so the 100,000 times the coupon rate divided by 2. So if you held this bond to maturity, you would receive 40 payments of $3,500. You'd receive $3,500 every 6 months for the next 20 years. And then when with the last coupon, you're going to receive your principal of $100,000. So equals PV. So go up here so rate, comma, number period, comma, payment, comma, future value. And since future value is not 0, we go ahead and we include it. If it's 0, we don't have to include it. So it's $111,557.37. 39 cents, sorry, 39 cents. Oops. I was looking at my bad handwriting. And you do any bond prices are entered as positives on the exam. So if you will, yeah. I'll show you exactly how I want to see it. No dollar sign. Okay, I'll go back through it. Do that. There we go. So that's how you would enter it on that exam, just like that. So the price is a present value. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to grab that. The price is a present value of all the future cash flows. So your present valuing these the $3,500 payments and the receipt of the $100,000. You've given if you bought this when ExxonMobil issued it, you gave Exxon $100,000 or thereabouts, depending on whether it's sold at a discount or a premium. So if you wanted to receive those payments now, you need to give them $111,000. Did that answer your question, Christina?
Max the bond is 111.
Yeah. Yeah, 111,557.39. All of the calculations for bonds that we do are on an interest payment date. If you happen to be trading bonds or involved with bonds, most valuation takes place between interest between the coupon payments, and when you do that, you have to okay, good. When you do that, you have to take accrued interest into account, but that's above the level of this class. if you would, if, I spent, 20-something years of my life doing that. So, if you want to know anything about it, be more than happy to talk to you about it. All right, so now we got our convertible bond question. So you own $1,000 face value convertible Microsoft bond that's currently trading at a price of 1,300. Bond has a conversion ratio of 20. Microsoft is currently trading at $60 per share. Assuming you're liquidating the position, which option is more profitable? So we take convert the share price and we multiply it by the conversion ratio, or vice versa. So 60 times 12 is 200. So the bond is worth more than the stock. So you would sell the bond. So another one of those really simple calculations that. All right. Next is a yield to call calculation. So when with the yield to call, we're concerned with the redemption price, and then we're concerned when it's callable. So you own $1,000 face value Lehman Brothers bond with an 8% coupon. The bond matures in 20 years. It's callable in 5 years at a redemption price of $1,020. The current price of the bond is $980. What is the yield to call on the bond? So N is 5 years semi-annual. So it's callable in 5 years. So 5 times 2 is 10. We're calculating IY. PV is the price of the bond, the 980, and enter it as a negative. If you enter it as a positive, you'll get like error 5, error 7, something like that. That means you have a sign, your signs don't agree. So payment is going to be, I didn't enter the $1,000, the face value times the 8% divided by 2. So $40 every 6 months. And now the future value is the redemption price. That's what you will receive when the bond is called. It's referred to as call protection. So it's an enticement to get an investor to buy a bond. They want it. They want to know that they're going to be able to hold on to that bond for some period of time, and a call premium helps them do that. On municipal bonds, call premiums of anywhere from, say, up to 2.5% are common. Some taxable bonds have what's called a make whole call. So you're literally basically buying the bond at the market value from the investor when you do the make whole call. So there's the only reason you would want to do that is to restructure your debt. So anyway, so now to do the calculation equals rate. So the number of periods is 10. The payment is 40, and then PV is negative 980, and then future value is 1,020. So that's 4.42%. That's a semi-annual rate. So we multiply by 2 to get 8.83% is the yield to call on that.
That was fine. Since it's this on paper and with that formula, that's okay.
You can do it You can do it however you want as long as you get the answer correct. Yeah, I'm not, yeah, yeah, whatever works for you. Okay. All right, so this is actually, we need to. All right, hold on. The calculations, the way it's set up, it should say just paid, but and I'm gonna. That's fine. All right, so and let's do this. All right, so Exxon expects to pay an $8 dividend this year. Dividends are expected to grow to 10% for the next year, 3 years, and at 4% after that. So they so to calculate the 10%, the growth that would be G1 down here. So we take the $8 and we multiply it by 1 plus the didn't finish that. So what is the value of the stock of investors require a 13% return to purchase the stock? So $8 times 1.1, and then make it absolute, function F4, and drag it down so that for the next 3 years, so that would be D1, 2, and 3 would be 880, 968, and 1065, and then the
Detail and then correct pay.
Mhm.
We were talking about detail on that input.
Yes. Yeah, it's the just paid is the key to that. So if it says expects to pay, that's D1. Okay.
Says expected.
Oh, am I? Okay. All right. Never mind. All right. I've got notes on my page and I'll start all over here. All right. It says expects to pay. I was just corrected on my, so hold on. All right. Now, all right. So D0, D1 is 8. Well, there we go. So now 4 is 1065. And now D5 is the 1065 times 1 plus 0.04. All right, so 11.07. So first we'll do my way, and then we'll do the book way. So it'd be 880 divided by 1 plus the required rate of return, and we make that absolute, function F4. And then we need a caret, and so we're gonna go down to this to $10.65 dividend, and then we'll present value that back. We're going to apply the constant growth model to, and then now R minus G, so 13 minus the 4%, and we'll put it out here, and we'll sum. You can just type in sum, that's 102.68. So if I come over here and do it the book way, so $8 divided by 1 plus the required rate of return, function F4, caret, and so we're going to go down and we're going to employ the constant growth model on this $11.07 dividend. And if, as long as I don't screw up, we should get the same answer. So R minus G, 13% minus 4%. I got an extra. Okay, so 102.68. Hey, yeah, I'm all for skipping steps. Like why, why do things? Like in my investments class, one of the calculations the book shows is calculate treasury bills is to calculate the discount rate on the treasury bill. And it's like, well, why would you do that? Because that's the rate that they give you. Why calculate what's given? I don't see the point in that. Yeah, you calculate things that you need to know. So, and I had, anytime I can, when leaving out the shares, that if you look in, if you had the solutions manual for the book, it would show the shares included, and it's like why? It just it's you like when if we go to Oracle, and you put 1,000 on every one of those, you're giving yourself 4 chances. When you're calculating rate of return, you're giving yourself 4 more chances to screw up. That's when you don't need that to calculate your rate of return. So yes, and I will. I'm gonna post a link from that. It probably won't be till morning, but yeah, yes, I will. And if I can't get that to work, I will do it again. So, all right. No percentages, no dollar signs, just commas and zeros. Everything is 2 decimal places. Okay. And
So the final answer that we want to see has to be with 2 decimal places.
right.
Not that decimal
Yeah. I
places.
mean, it's like if you think about it, anytime you're using money, everything's rounded to cents. So that's and and interest rates, most cases where we look at, we don't look at anything more. You mean, G, G1 was not used in the first method. No, it's used right here. It's, we use it to grow these dividends for 3 years. But otherwise we don't use it to present value those dividends. We use that just to grow that dividend.
Like D bar based in D bar calculated that may be applied over R1 plus D2 over R1 where then D plus over R raised to
I'm
the way.
I'm not,
the way-
you're,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about the second way, the second,
they're going,
with the both way.
Okay.
any questions?
Yeah, what's the P zero equals D one over R minus D? I guess the formula is one over R as plus one.
No, it's always the same. It's just, you're applying this time by the constant growth rate. You're gonna subtract R minus whatever the constant growth rate is. And in this case, the constant growth rate is G2. Okay? But it could, you know, if you were actually valuing a stock, it could be G10. You know, but you're still, anytime you apply it, these, you know, whatever those, the R and G are they are what they are. And you need the dividend in that period, and it's going to give you a value 1 year prior.
But if I apply this formula, like, divided by 0.9, I'm getting. But that was the right, P zero equals D one minus over R.
No.
R is 0.13, right? And G, I'm gonna use G2, which is 0.4. So R minus G equals 0.09,
Yes.
and D1 equals 8. So 8 divided by 0.09 is gonna give me 88.
That would be wrong. 8 divided by 0.09 is wrong. That is, you have to grow the dividends. I have the formula there to show you what the formula you're gonna use to apply when you get down to you have to understand that when you use the dividend, if the dividend is the price is gonna be 1 year prior. Okay, I'm giving you this formula. I'm not gonna give you the D5 divided by R minus G is P4. It's I'm asking you to understand the concept that
This is that. Right into the P zero equals D1 over R. Because if I plug the numbers, that equation, I'm not gonna get the answer what I said. Unfortunately, why did I'm sorry.
I explained why I have it there. I put it there because you're using this formula in this calculation. It's slightly different. You apply this formula every time you do this. You apply it when you do a constant growth calculation, and you also have to apply it at some point when you do a non-constant growth calculation. Okay. So I didn't manipulate it for the situation, but that's what I want you to understand, that if I have a dividend in the future and I divide it by R minus G, it's going to give me the value 1 year prior to that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? All right, then I'm going to let you go.
How many, yeah, how many,